Okay, let me check my mic here and see if it's working. If you can hear me, please let me know. I'm gonna get started in just a minute. First, I'll talk a little bit about these little panels that I made earlier today. On last week's live, I did some things with distress oxides, just direct to paper and blending them. And this time I picked up some of the sprays. And so the sprays are water reactive, and also, of course, they're liquid. So they gave some different effects. And I'll just wait and see if anyone else joins us for just a minute. I am going to be using today some of the Spectrum Noir blender card, and then just some of the regular cardstock that I use for my card bases, which is the Nina 110 pound exact index. And then I have some mixed media tags as well that I'll be using. Let's see here. So these are what I did today. This one I just ran through the through my machine, through the embossing folder, and clearly I only needed one plate and a shim with the embossing folder. It just made the loudest cracking sound, but it looks like my plates are okay. But I literally was so excited about it that I screamed. This one was pretty fun. This one I put some ink on the paper, and since I'm using the oxides, the black paper picked up the distress ink, and then I did some of the spray direct onto the embossing folder, and that's how I did this one. This was embossing folder onto wet paper, so that's what I'm going to be playing with a little bit today, is using wet paper versus dry paper and spraying it with water afterwards. I have some different items that we'll use to make imprints. I have some stencils and some bubble wrap and different things like that. And I'll also be doing some, doing a little bit of ink blending and stamping, and then hopefully there's something that I get excited about that I want to make a card out of. So we'll see how that goes. So I wanted to kind of limit some of my options. Last week I think I got overwhelmed, but first thing I'm going to do is show the difference. I don't know if you guys have used distressed oxides before or oxide sprays. This is my my background that I've been using to catch all the overspray, and it's turning out pretty cool so far, so I'm keeping that back here. I'm actually working in a big cardboard box. I don't have like a regular splatter box that has the arms that come up, but I will fashion something eventually, I think, because I think I'm going to be spraying a lot of this. And let's see. I guess the first thing to look at when you look at these is that there's a big difference between the spray when it goes direct on dry paper and when it is sprayed onto wet paper. So I'm going to start with dry paper first. I've only got 6 of these colors. Ooh, sorry. Hi, Yvette. Thanks for joining. Just talking a little bit about these sprays that I picked up. Let's see here. I've got carved pumpkin, mustard seed. This is wild honey. And then I've got peacock feathers, which I love. This is cracked pistachio. And this one is mermaid lagoon. So, earlier today, Yvette, I tried some of these out. I used the Distress Oxide ink pads last week with some blending. And then I went and picked up some of the sprays. And so what I'm playing with is the spray with water, without water, and some kind of, a little bit of playing with the impressions from different things like stencils and stamps and things like that. So those are ones that I made today. Just trying some things out, and I also wanted to be sure that I was using the right kind of ink to be able to spray on, or to be able to add water to. So got that. I am always reorganizing my craft room. It is the never-ending saga. So I'm going to start first by just doing some spraying. I'm in a box, and I've been using this to pick up some things. But what I found is that... Hi, Addie. Thanks for joining. What I think I learned today, playing with these for the first time, is that you get a lot of the drips. The splatter effect is really prominent if you, and this makes sense now that I think about it. If you get spray close, like direct to the paper, then you get some more of the splatter effect with the big drops. And then if you spray it kind of at an angle and let it fall down onto the paper, of course, you get that mist effect. So I've been playing with that a little bit, and do some of that now. Let's see here. So a couple of these I haven't used yet, so. And of course, let me put this, I'll just leave that there. Some of the blue. This is the Peacock Feather, which I think is my favorite of the ink pad colors. So, and these are oxides, so the The sprays are a lot brighter because they don't have whatever the property is that oxidizes. But let's see here. Is that the same one? Let's try this one. Oh, I have a craft sheet. It's just a craft sheet. I hope the glare isn't too bad. So I kind of thought, I was trying to decide if I wanted to use a craft sheet or not, because I didn't want too much water to pool up on it, but I'll figure that out as we go. I might remove it. And let's see here. When I watched Tim Holtz do this today, he shook these before every time he sprayed them. So that's what I'm going to do. And let's see. What about this? No, this green one. Cracked pistachio. So I think that if we give this a second to dry, then we can add some more on top of it and they'll layer up. You can tell here that that blue is sitting on top of the green underneath it. Of course, I don't know how well it's coming up on the screen, but let's see here. So I'm going to give that one a second. This next one, I'm just going to go ahead and wet it right away. So this is just plain water. Let me move these guys. And let's see. So we'll mix this with water. Move this other one out of the way. You should see the living room is just covered in water and ink spray. So I'm just putting a pretty good layer. This is the Spectrum Noir blending card. I didn't really like it as blending card. It very much made me frustrated. So I used the Pixis one, but anyway. Ooh, so that's cool because I can see the blue here just from that one color and the green coming out. Some yellow. And some orange over here. So Yvette just got home from work. What's everyone else doing tonight? Oh, and is also procrastinating. Sounds like Addie's waiting for, or trying to get the kids to sleep. So, so I don't know. Let's see. Look at this. I had a tool here somewhere. That's the wrong one. There we go. So I'm just trying to keep it flat so the little splatters don't roll down too far. So I think the reason that I hadn't bought sprays in the past is really because I consider myself like a non-artisty, non-grungy kind of clean line, or clean and simple card maker or crafter. So these are really kind of outside of my zone, but it's been pretty fun so far. I mean, definitely I can use the Distress ink pads for stamping and embossing and all that kind of stuff. So, but these sprays are very much like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel a little bit out of my element. So, while this, I'm going to put this one aside to dry. I'm going to bring this one, that's our first one, back in. And I think I'm going to try to spray some of this orange on top of that. Yeah, I really feel like not only is it lack of control on the paper, but I feel like the entire room is covered in a fine mist of ink and water right now too. So definitely. But it's worth it. It's worth a shot. It's fun to experiment. I feel like I had to really work myself up to trying this, and like allowing myself to just see what happens. And then of course, if I don't like it, or you know, I can always go back and fix it or stamp on top of it or whatever. So it's nice to have card panels around too. I find doing different hops and different themed projects for my channel that sometimes you just want to grab something that has color on it with a little bit of interest, and that might be how I use these. So, hi Rose, you're late. Or are you just in time? We're making a mess today. Hi Bonnie, thanks for joining. Today we are just spraying around some of these Distress Oxide sprays. I'm doing direct to paper with water and without, and making a mess, and it's really outside of my comfort zone because I really like to do clean line things. But here we just sprayed on that orange, and it definitely laid kind of on top of the yellow and blue in some areas, because if I would have you know, put all these colors together with regular ink, not the oxide ink, then there's a good chance that it could have made a muddy mess. So I'm going to put this one aside. Bring this one in. This one's still pretty wet because we wet it before I put any of the stuff down. It's not mine either. I figured I could use some of them as backgrounds even if I just did some experimenting. Just put some. This is cracked pistachio? Yeah, it's cracked pistachio. And I'm pretty sure that you guys can't see. There's some very there's some very subtle kind of differences in some of the colors. Also, I cut these just a little bit whiter than I would have for a card mat. So I anticipated having to cut off some of these edges. So let's bring in a stencil this time. So I'm going to do a couple things. First, I'm going to do a no, that's not going to work. A mixed media tag through a stencil, but do the tag dry. This stencil's not very exciting, but I figured I wanted it to have some wide spots, wide areas to spray in. This is Hero Arts something. Flowy Stripes. Actually, let's do the paper instead. Oh, I don't have any of the mica sprays. I have some mica, but it's been like in the cupboard for years and I haven't used it. So, oh well. But I was thinking about getting it out because I saw that there are different mica sprays and stuff. So, this one's dry. I'm going to go ahead and lay down a couple of colors. Let's try Peacock Feathers. Well, let's try the lightest one first. Let's try the Mustard Seed. And then I think I'm going to move it this way and try the Peacock Feather. Yeah, I watched some videos today of people doing this and they shake them like every time they spray them, even if they just use them. So I'm trying that. Oops. Oh, well, there was a big splatter, but that's okay. I think there's something in the schnozzle here. Okay. I'm just going to let that set for a second. Are you getting to work on any projects today, Bonnie? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to give this one more turn and do it again. Like that. Oh, yeah, that's fine. See how this goes. That almost looks neon. I nearly broke my die cut machine end plates today from trying to put an embossing folder through it with two plates at the same time. So that was really fun and interesting. Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You can see where the blue and the yellow get together and make a bit of a green color. That's pretty neat. The thing about this, though, is that we could clearly get this if we did, if we just did ink pad and ink blending. I think that it would take me a minute to get it this dark, though. So now I'm going to do one. Well, let's do this first. I've got papers everywhere. Let's do one I'm going to take this stencil, I'm going to spray it with some water to reactivate some of this ink and just do a print, like a pressing, whatever this is, a print. Try not to jiggle it too much. I'm not sure I like that color. It's pretty cool though. Maybe when it dries it'll look a little different. I can clearly though see orange and yellow and green specks in here. It's pretty browny and muddy too though, but interesting. So now I'm going to wipe this off. There's just a little bit left on here. It sure did clean off the stencil. Let's see. Is that what I wanted to do? I'm trying to remember what I'm doing next. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Just gonna wipe this guy off really fast. Just get some of the muddy mess off of it. Card bases is one of the things that I do a lot when I'm watching TV. Make card bases or card panel. I don't know what I did with this. I'm just gonna be a second here. Okay. Maybe. It looks worse now than it did before. I'm gonna get the other stencil. All right. So this one is a creative expression stencil. And this time I'm going to spray the paper first, because if we spray the paper first, we should get more movement. I'm just going to let that other one dry over there. I don't even know if this is going to work. Yeah, it's already bowing. I'm not sure what effect I'm going to get here, but it is such a mess in here. Ooh. Okay, there's some blue. What is that? That's the Peacock Feather. I'm gonna have to get some colors that are distinctly like outside of each other's color family. That's pretty cool. Again, this pumpkin looks neon to me. Oops. Okay, this one looks like a light show. And I'm gonna take this guy. I don't remember this the last time I got this messy. That is not good. We'll see what it looks like when it dries, though. The other thing I wanted to do was sop up some of this with the paper. So... Oh, fun. That sounds pretty cool, Bonnie. Okay, let's see. This is gonna make a brown mess, I think. So maybe I'll put some blue on here. Now I'm just gonna sop it up off of the paper, or off of the bottom. Let's see. Some of that. Interesting. I keep on saying interesting because I'm like, oh, I don't know, is that cool? I want more yellow on this one, so I'm just going to spray yellow on it. Oh. Don't know what I'm doing. Let's see here. Okay. Let me wipe this guy down, at least. Maybe I'll move it. I'm going to move this in the stencil. I'm going to bring in the other stencil. Okay, now we won't make puddles. So this is the one that we made where we sprayed it through the stencil when the paper was dry. So now I'm going to try it when the paper is wet. And I think I am going to use this mixed media tag because it'll hold, it's technically, I guess, supposed to hold more water. It's for mixed media, so I assume that's what that means. And I think I will try to use those same colors. So it was the yellow, the blue, and then the orange. Well, I guess these are all blue. The yellow, the orange, and then the Peacock Feather. Maybe I'll use Mermaid though this time. I'm gonna start with the yellow. Oh, I forgot to water it. Okay. Don't forget to water your paper. Okay. Yellow. Pick it up And turn it. Did I do? I don't know which one I did next. To the orange. Oh, I did the orange last time, huh? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And well, so far it looks brighter because of the water. I don't know if it's going to dry that way, though. Oh, clearly there's some muckiness, so I'm going to sop that up. I learned today that it's okay to do this. To sop up the color. Because apparently you can do whatever you want. It's pretty cool. I think this this blue is just really vibrant too. So, so that has all the weird colors on it again. Let's do this. And maybe I'll make a couple of cards with what we've made so far. Let's see what this does. I don't know if it's because I sprayed it and so I see the little speckles of orange and yellow. I mean, it's obviously mostly brown, but there's also some purple in there. It's really weird and like not brown. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to try was the bubble wrap. If you guys have a second and want to give me a like, that would be cool. And I'm going to grab the bubble wrap right here. So I wasn't really sure how I was going to do this. But what I think I'm going to do is spray the paper. Let's see. So this one's dry, dryish. Where's that other one? So, I'm going to, oh, I stacked them all on top of each other. So I'm going to do one where I spray ink on the bubble wrap and then press it against the bubble wrap. And then I have another one that I'll just do water and have it activate the color. So let me use this to let's see. this mermaid lagoon. Going to go ahead and find my acrylic block. Here's my big acrylic block, and this is this one. I'm just gonna lay it here for a second. Ooh. So, I don't know how long I'm supposed to wait. Another few seconds, maybe? While I'm waiting on that one, I'll just go ahead and I'm just going to spray this with water on this other side. Ha, that's pretty cool. I like how it looks like a stencil-y kind of, but it has those drops in it, so it's kind of hard to figure out what it is. I like this effect. I don't know how often I would use it though. Set that one aside. Spread this one with water. So I'm going to take this one and so here's this piece, and I'm just going to see how it affects it to reactivate those that ink just in those little spots. So I'm going to give that a minute. Oh, I'm just going to set this aside for a second. Over the way. So I did get a new stamp, woodblock stamp. I try not to buy woodblock stamps, but this woodblock stamp was $3 on clearance at Michael's, so I picked it up. And I figured now that I'm doing my own backgrounds more often, instead of using like designer paper, that having these kind of stamps is going to be handy. But yeah, I'm going to use this on something here. Let's see. I wonder if this is ready. Think it's ready? Look at my hands. Didn't do anything. I mean, maybe it did. Oh, I see it now. I don't know if you can see it because I have to press my face against it to see it. Let's do yellow. Did everyone have dinner already? Oh. Let's do that. That also had the water on it already, so I think it's going to make it a little more organic, liquidy looking too. So we'll see. What are you having for dinner, Rose? Oh, geez. I haven't had that in 100 years. Okay, I think it's ready. Drum roll. I'm trying to pull these off so that it doesn't smear whatever effect it has underneath, but it's getting harder to do that. Wow. Definitely is not interested in playing with me this time. I can see some of it over here where it's lighter, but I really feel like, based on what I watched, that it should also bead up on top of the blue, but it didn't. So let's do this then. This is going to be messy also. I'm going to take this side and do this and give that a minute. That's going to do something. So while that one sits, I'm gonna bring, this is the one that I smashed up against the liner. And then also I sprayed, and you can see a purple color in here. It's really plum looking, or like aubergine, eggplant, that I don't have in the sprays. So that just mixed itself together. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, let's see what this does. Not too interesting, but we can splatter it with something later. I think there's still blue on here too, so maybe I'll see if that blue does anything. Leave that there for a minute. Ooh, I haven't had Olive Garden in the longest time, and Eli likes it too, so I don't know why we don't go there. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if that did anything. A little bit. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but I'm already home, so. I'm going to roll this up, put it over here, and now I'm going to go ahead, I think, and spray this with that bright blue color. And now, what I'm trying to decide is, should I flip the stamp onto the paper, or should I just lay the paper on top? Maybe I should just lay the paper on top. Okay, let's see what this does. I'm going to put pressure on it though, just a little bit. This is my handy dandy do everything for me now acrylic block that I started using last week. I've been using it to weigh down stuff that I'm gluing while it dries. I've been using it for everything, so. I had a roommate once that worked at Subway, and I just remember that we were lucky she worked at Subway because she got a free sandwich every shift, and we didn't make a lot of money. Okay, gonna leave that for another minute. While that sits over here, I wanted to use the stencil and then, oh, okay, yeah. So, I think now for this last bit, we will try spraying one of the stencils with ink and putting a dry paper on it. And then putting one in with wet paper on it. So trying to figure out, let me get this other one. This one that reminds me of SpongeBob. So this one I'm going to use dry paper, and this one I will use wet paper. So let me do this one first. Oh, let's take this guy. Sorry, I'm trying to do like a bunch of things at once. It did nothing. Okay. Maybe there's just too much pigment on there for it to do anything. It's too thick. Let's try it the other way then. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 with 1 here because I'm going to spray this. And spray this. And so did you guys know that the point of today's get together is just to see how messy I can get? I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. So, I'll put this guy under here, and I'll press that down in a second. And we're going to put this dry piece in here. And close that and put this on it. That's interesting. Okay, this I'm gonna give another minute. I'm glad I did this behind some of them because I'm definitely going to use this paper for something. This is probably my favorite one so far. Oh. Yeah. Let's see. All right. This is the one that I sprayed. We had a dry piece of paper, kind of. First I tried the water on the stamp and that didn't work, so I put the blue Mermaid Lagoon spray on the stamp. Oh, ooh, I like it. I really like this. I feel like if I cut it down a little bit and put like a black piece of cardstock behind it, that I could tolerate it and really like the look of it. All right. This one has a lot of ink in those crevices. I have no idea. Maybe I'll flip it over with some water later. So this is the dry piece of cardstock. So maybe we should use the same spray, the same ink color, and the same embossing thing with wet and compare those. So let me get this paper wet first. All right, I think this is the last one. Whoop. Okay. Okay, this is wet paper. Now, let's see if I can figure out how to close this without it moving a bunch. Maybe? Maybe. So we'll give that a second. I'll gather up all of the parts so we can look at them. I'm gonna have to flatten some of these. Some over here. All right, I'm reaching across. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we did. See if it's any different. It doesn't look very different at all. Well, yeah, it does. If you put them next to each other. This one bleeds a lot more, just like you would think from water. I'm not sure that I prefer one over the other, though. I think this one was less messy to make, though, so. Cool. Cool. So, all right, let's take a tour of what we did today. First we did this. Look, it's even under my rings. So here are those two. Wet versus dry really didn't make a big difference, but maybe if I would have sprayed more ink on it, it would make a big difference. I don't know. Here's the tag that we did with those colors. The tag was wet when we sprayed through the stencil, and this is dry, sprayed through the stencil. And I think that I just really like this one better because it feels cleaner to me. Okay, these are the things that I did all by myself. Here are these two messy ones. This one has some of that purple in it too. Oh wait, that's the same one that I pointed it out in earlier. And this guy. Here's the one where we didn't get the bubble wrap to show up, but this is when we really got the bubble wrap to show up. And I can see that some of these little bubble wrap imprints are turning green now. Just as they're drying. You're getting some different colors. And up here with the orange and the way that the blue is, it looks pretty neon. This one I really like now. It looks like a hot mess, but also kind of psychedelic. And here's this guy, and this one. So, I'm going to make some cards out of these and I'll post them. I wasn't sure how long I would go with making a big mess. So these are the ones I made earlier today too. This one, I used the dauber just to make yellow smashes and sprayed that. This I did some ink blending and then sprayed on top of it, and you can kind of see where the spray made it green in some places. This was just water on that same embossing folder. This is that embossing folder on black cardstock, so that turned out pretty cool, and I think I'll use this. This is the one that I put through the machine and almost broke my machine because I tried this embossing folder through with 2 plates. So, and then here's this one, and I just kind of stamped it because I wanted to make sure that this was the right ink to use. So, all right, well, thanks everybody for joining. Next week I was thinking about doing maybe a little just cut and paste kind of fun fold cards or one of those like 4-page mini albums that I do. Just do the base and maybe decorate it. So something not this messy. By next week, I might decide I want to get even messier though, so stay tuned. If you have a second and didn't hit the like button, please do that. Thanks so much for joining me today again and watching me scratch my elbow. Thanks, everybody. Oh, I have to stop the video. I forgot.